Hello there, everybody. My name is Force the Wreck, and welcome back to yet another awesome podcast. That's what we're looking for. There's
There's the
my.
phrase.
I've got three different things that I say now. Yet another awesome live stream when I'm live streaming. Yet another awesome YouTube series when I'm just recording, but I'm not actually live.
Mm-hmm.
And then now yet another awesome podcast, which I wanted to add in because it's like my thing as I go.
Yeah. It's your moniker.
Yet another awesome live stream is YAALS, so it's y'alls. Welcome back to yet another awesome live stream, y'alls. Yet another awesome YouTube series. Yes. Yet another awesome podcast. Yup.
Yes. I agree to the nonsense you just spouted at me.
It just gives me like a silly thing to say at the end that's like, what the fuck was that noise he just made? And I'd be like, yeah, maybe you'll figure it out someday. Maybe you'll watch my podcast data upload podcast, and I'll tell you what they mean because I just give out the acronyms.
Mm-hmm. The Force lore expands. You need to see all content in order to truly understand the depth of the man, the myth, the legend.
Anyways, I am joined today. My name is Force Rick. And I'm joined today as always. Well, not as always. Yeah, we had to have Jackie step in last week as you.
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't remember Power 4. You had like a.
Of course, I was in a very dark place. I was in a dark place. I made a video in that place. That was the first time in forever.
Congratulations. Speaking of videos, I have not uploaded the last episode of the data upload because what I want to start doing is I want to start waiting until the next recording,
and then drop
it so that I can drop it, and then I have at least a week to edit the next one. So when you guys are seeing this, we are or have just
exactly
recorded.
One recording behind.
Yeah, you'll be exactly one recording behind. So you can go over to twitch.tv/Force2Reckon where I do the podcast. We record the podcast live, so you can just watch the VODs, and so you can keep up to date. But if there's ever... this is basically, that's how I'm going to do it from now on, because I find that I'm stressing myself out way too much trying to get it edited on Saturday, especially when I've got like D&D and have to prep
other things in your own content,
prep, and I have to edit that because it needs to be done by midnight. I was like,
yeah, just space it out, and that way it's incentivized for people to come on over, check us out live.
Another little incentive. I've been playing too much Ark. We were talking about Ark for a bit. PowerCore's going to be joining me for Ark eventually.
He says this. I'm not giving any affirmative consent. Let it be written in the record.
No, I said he's not. I'm going to take my copium, but I know it's never going to happen. So, but I've been playing a lot of Ark. I'm seeing and hearing Ark shit everywhere. I heard like a weird noise in somebody else's video, completely unrelated to Ark the other day, and I'm like, was that a dodo?
Is that one of the nuclear dodos? After those stories, I understand why you.
They all sound the same. That's the really scary part. Nuke dodos sound exactly the same as normal dodos, and they look the same, except they have like a little helmet on.
But we know what we're doing today now, don't we?
Yeah, we are doing data upload, which I probably already edited in the little blip.
Nope.
The little after I said data upload the first time, but welcome back to the data upload podcast. Or the Eshcast, whatever you want to call it.
Remember, we used to be Dupload, but are no longer associated with the political party.
We were never associated with the political party.
Exactly.
No, you said we're no longer implies that we were at one point associated with the political party.
There is at this moment no association with the political party.
There was never any association with the political party.
We're saying the same thing. That's all that's happening here.
This is the politicians one that's like, I leave it open for past and future moments. Just in case I decide I do want to be associated with them for like a day or two.
For whatever reason, because content creators becoming politicians is a very good track record.
I mean, there's one comedian right now who disagree.
Well, you can take my statement as ironic or unironic. That's the best part.
I don't know why I'm eating. I'm eating. What? Stop that. I got a fucking Nature Valley protein bar. I don't even remember grabbing it. I just realized it was in my hand. Fucking hell. It warps
in. Don't you hate it when the bowl of cereal presents itself in front of you and puts the spoon in?
Especially if it puts it in milk first.
Mm-hmm. Damn, now I actually hate it. Now that's just heresy. See, one of these was somewhat tolerable. The other's actually a demon, okay?
Well, that's how you know if it was a demon or an angel who poured it for you. If it's an angel, they poured it cereal first. If it's a demon, they poured it milk first.
It's milk first. The fucking breakfast deity. Hey, here's an initial idea now. The breakfast deities. Demons prepare in the opposite order. You will be shot if you're not allowed to tell the difference.
Oh. There you go. There's your first idea of the day. A whole assortment of assorted bagel demons.
Bagel demons and other breakfast-related spirits.
Oh, God. Now I'm hungry. Why am I hungry? All right. I have a thing. I'm going to start with my thing.
Actually, can we start with my very first thing? Because it's a short one, but it's sweet.
Fine. Mine's short and sweet too, but... Alright. This is SCP-PL-KOT-J, and there's a picture of my cat on there. Hi, Bugbear. How are you? It's a black, just like black, short hair, sleek cat.
Now, the fascinating part is, I've encountered this uncontained SCP. Because I was wondering where people were posting this fucking picture randomly at other people. And now I know the true reason. It is an entity that is currently uncontained and unregistered by the Foundation.
There's literally no words on this page. We don't even know what it does. Oh, God. Oh, no.
This is an actually unrestrained cognito hazard. It just exists.
Hold on, I'm going to go post this on one of the SCP groups I'm in just the memes channel.
God.
Just the image. I'm not even going to post the page. Just post the image, see how people react.
It is uncontained and highly dangerous. I recommend a Euclid classification and immediate procedures to be taken.
For the audience out there who are not visibly able to see the joke, as mentioned, it is a black cat. It is just sitting on a chair. And it's like a picture of a black cat sitting on a chair and scratching the back of the chair.
He is indeed just there, sitting on a chair.
All right. Well, that aside, let's talk about stairs.
Stairs, you say?
Yes. I would like to give you a brief history of stairs, which is the name of this Wanderer's Library story.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be branching out
from the Wanderer's Library, and it's called A Brief History of Stairs.
It sounds like it'll be very uplifting.
It sounds like it's going to be a solid platform to build upon.
Mm-hmm. I hope it's stable, sturdy, and it slowly builds up into a wonderful destination I'll be happy to be at.
Okay. Every Eritrean boy and girl knows about elevation platforms. These methods of ancient ascension, created before there was a king ruling the land, have been around for generations, whether made of twine or wire or even the stringed earlobe of a Vesuvian pack rat. They're all the same basic idea. A platform is lifted into the air so the passengers may reach a higher locale. But what of the other methods of going up a tall place? There have been many attempts over the years to build one which may replace the elevated platform, but all have been disasters. The uphill waterfall, the double cannon, and turkey surprise, all were considered threats to the elevated platform, but were never adopted by the 6th Carpentry Architecture Union. However, one method did come close.
I have so many
questions. Stairs, or the miniature self-propelled elevation foot mechanism, was developed in 232 VGE by Dorixius Nathius. Nathius?
I think Nathius works.
Who believed it would bring about a revolution in transport units. Originally constructed out of steam-powered lily pads and bamboo sticks, Later models would usually be made of stacked boxes of reeds. When patented, even the king was impressed, ordering the new parlor castle to be built with stairs instead of elevation platforms. Now, it must be said that this shook up the Elra architectural subunion, for if the king was impressed by this new method of self-elevation, it could bring great trials and tribulations to their profession. But while the castle had to be built, it would be built by the enemy of all stair kind, the elevated platform architectural subunion.
I'm sorry, what? Am I on drugs, or is the writer on drugs?
Welcome to the Wanderer's Library, everybody. So the cornerstone was struck, and the castle was constructed into the new year. As they labored, they took careful care on the 876th step. You see, the king had a habit of pausing to gaze upon his domain every 876th step. If this were true, then slightly weaker boards, unable to support the corpulent royal at this juncture, would be tragic. After many nights of toil and sweat, the castle had been raised from humble foundations to a massive structure of grandiose proportions. There were towers jutting out of bigger towers, and masonry made of the handsomest minerals. At the center of it all was a grand 876-step staircase spiraling to the heavens. The king saw it, and was pleased. Pausing briefly to gaze upon his domain, he was urged by Dorixius and other attendees of the opening to ascend the stairs. Step by step,
got that. Yep.
He went upward. Every board creak and footstep signaled another uplifting step to even more dizzying heights. From the ground, spectators watched in awe. Designers of the staircase and elevated platform alike steeled their nerves, for they knew this would make or break their chosen method of transport. Finally, the king reached the 876th step. He stood briefly, gazing down upon his domain and smiling. Then there was a creak, a snap, and tragedy.
Oh no!
Slowly, the king toppled backwards, his rotund form unable to find ground upon the myriad of now descending steps. He fell down the stairs.
He's fucking Humpty Dumptying his ass down 876
as he was
steps.
Tossed and beaten by the wooden monstrosity and cringed at his agonized cries. Oh my god, that makes me think of something. When he finally reached the ground, all faces were silent and ashen. Dorixius alone wept, because he knew his downfall had come, literally. Never more would stairs be wrought from iron or swampland. Forever onwards they have been outlawed, and their creators hanged from the tallest root. Maybe you can spot one ancient crumbling ruin, and remember the hubris of its fall. And maybe not. After all, they are only stairs.
My mind feels expanded. This was a good warm-up story for me to understand the Wanderer's Library, truly. I didn't understand stairs until now.
I felt this was a great place to start. I've never read it. You know, it's just the kind of like, I knew it sounds very mundane and normal, and I knew it was weird as shit. Because that's what Wanderer's Library is.
I wonder however, what
it has given me multiple not for anything like particularly crazy or complex, but for like, you know, active like architectural strangeness in environments. Like a person who actually uses an upside down or like an inverting waterfall that they can like flip a lever or like chant a magic word and the waterfall like lifts up or down and then they just like swim it.
It seems mundane, the idea of stairs, but to think about a society without something basic like either stairs or doorways would force you to get very creative.
Well, it's funny because
and in this society they just have
in this society. Well, in this society, they created a lift, like a micro elevator. It's literally like a thing that they stand on that then is lifted up before they ever made stairs. And those became the like primary means of transit.
And are still the only means of transport. Remember, stairs are illegal.
Yeah, stairs are illegal. They are monsters and they will murder you.
They will toss you down them while pummeling you viciously along each one of their vicious steps.
Gravity over here being like, oh, stairs are fucked up.
Now I actually want just a pair of wandering stairs. They force you to the top of them. Their only way of attacking you is teleporting you down their back.
It's a mimic, but its only form of attack is it charms you. and it just like does like a little wiggle, like and you're like
Don't
compelled to walk up the stairs. Every round you go up 10 steps, and when you finally break the charm, you just like fall backwards down all the steps
it's
naturally.
It's little hand that just shoves you down from whatever step you stopped on.
And you just take like 1d6 for every stair, or like you just take 1 damage point for every stair you go up. So it's like you're just stacking up damage. You go up like 100 steps and you just.
I do like hostile stairs. A stair-based enemy. Now this is getting the neurons firing. How else would a stair...
I also really like the idea of just a pair of boots that create like fake stairs beneath you as you walk. Like your next step has to be higher than your first, but you can walk on air with them. So you're just like slowly walking into the air. Oh, right, so you can come down now.
I literally can't.
I'm going up the stairs right now. I can't change it.
You have to flip the lever for ascent and descent, but it is a manual toggle. You cannot descend or ascend unless you're not in the correct mode.
I just like the idea that it's a minute. Like you use it and you choose ascent or descent, and you have to step up or down.
How does it? If you're in descent mode while on the ground, does it actually force you deeper into the ground?
I think it digs the staircase beneath you.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Which is broken as shit.
I'm just gonna go to hell for a little bit. Now I'm just reading this passively. Shit, we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
This is now the Dark Souls podcast.
Nope, I cut all that out. I'm waiting for you to send me your.
Alrighty, SCP. I'll send you an actual. Hey, I believe that the cat SCP was totally fine, but I have two.
Hey! I did not ever say the cat SCP wasn't fine. I said I'm waiting for you to send me your SCP.
This is true.
I didn't say it was wrong.
We didn't disparage Lord Catlington, okay? Please don't come to hex us. We worship and respect your rights. This one was interesting. I've only given it a slight cursory look over, but I like the cut of its jib, especially with some of the pictures.
I like the cut of your jib. I might your jibbins.
It's a nice slab of
oh, hey, look, it's Ark.
Beef. Stop it.
They look just like the cows in Ark.
No shit, because they're just cows. How different?
No, but the cows in Ark are dinosaurs.
So
except that they're from a mod, which technically aren't dinosaurs. They're farm animals. But
now I think about it, prehistoric dinosaurs. That's an idea for after the story. SCP-6124. Start us off, since I was the one who brought it. Its item number is SCP-6124. Object class, Euclid.
Hold on. 2 things
that's right.
2 things we forgot to do.
That's entirely true. For 3 stories. Damn.
So let me check.
For the SCP cat, we have Sidrath alone. Thank you for the content of our wonderful esoteric cat.
Right. For the brief history of stairs, we have RGB_R.
Thank you for the content. I want to be part of the subcommittee's union of official architects. And for our upcoming story about bovine shenanigans, we have... There's an author, it says by Nagros at
bullshit. The top. By Nagros, that's probably it, because it requires some like actual programming to put in. So,
and it is by Nagros indeed. 27 days ago. So thank you, Nagros.
Cow spotting.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can actually find the real title. Its special containment procedures. As SCP-6124 presents ubiquitously within global livestock populations, no containment is necessary. SCP-6124 is functionally accepted as a non-anomalous facet of civilian life, and discovery of its underlying properties in history is unlikely. Foundation agents embedded within civilian paleontology projects are to discourage the discovery.
It is Ark.
Of REAO-6124-A,
Referring to the paleontological remains of extant anomalous organism, REAO, remains of extant anomalous organism.
If such an event becomes a reasonable matter of concern. I like to think the anomaly here is just cows. What are they? Where do they come from? Why do they look at
They just showed up one day. They just showed up one day. They became our pets. We slaughtered them for meat. We don't know why. We don't
and
know
their
how.
Pink sack nectar is so delicious. It goes well with my breakfast.
Why is their nectar pink for you?
I said their pink sack nectar because the sack is pink, but the nectar is white.
But pink sack nectar. The nectar is called sack nectar.
Yeah, it is sack nectar, but it comes from a pink sack.
But it's pink sack nectar.
You could say white sack nectar. Technically, both of us are correct, which means I'm right. So shut up, it's my story. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Nagros' story narrated.
Sorry, not sorry. You're wrong.
I think it's time inflection. For us to move on, Forrest.
It's all about inflection, spacing, and timing. If you wanted it to be the sack to be pink, you would have said pink sack nectar. If you wanted the nectar to be pink
sack,
you would but you said pink sack nectar, which is connected together, meaning it's all describing one. We're using verbal communication
floppy
here.
This is true, but if it was floppy pink sack nectar, would you say the nectar is floppy, or would you imply that the sack is?
I would think the nectar is floppy if you said it like that.
How can nectar be floppy?
How can nectar not be floppy? It literally just flops around. Have you not played with nectar before?
Floppy? I have played with nectar. Okay, we all.
This has gotten way out, man. Can we stop this? This is just
I will keep going forever. I can make this conversation as strange as we want. But
so can I. But we're recording.
This is true. This is what we do off camera. That's an off-camera debate. Description. The SCP is a cognitohazardous vector affecting worldwide Boris taurus, aka cattle, populations. Activated when viewing cattle at high speeds. The SCP presents exclusively in humans and impacts two sections of the following human nervous system: the peripheral cortex, the midline rapha nuclei, along the brainstem, producing the following behavior/neurological changes. Strong favorability toward and interest in nearby cattle, particularly during periods of grazing or rest, and increased production of 5, let's try, hydroxytryptamine.
Hydroxytryptamine.
Hydroxytryptamine. Quotation marks 5-HT, resulting in sudden lightening of mood and momentary cessation of depression.
I just realized what this is.
Cows cure depression.
No, it's the you know when you're like driving in a long road trip and you see cows, you're like, cows. That's what this is describing.
The drive-by cow effect.
Because it's only activated when you view them at high speeds. And it causes you to have a strong favorability towards an interest in them and nearby cattle. And particularly ones that are grazing or sleeping. And then it makes you really, really happy, which is exactly what happens. You drive by cows, you've been like kind of bored because the road trip's kind of gotten boring. You go, cows, hey look, that one's eating.
Cows, he's sleeping.
Aww.
They're anomalous. Get them out of my head.
It's an anomaly. Fuck.
SCP-6124's effects cease when the observer diverts their gaze from the cattle responsible for the vector. Current paleontological evidence suggests SCP-6124 is a vestigial genetic feature evolved to decrease B. taurus's predation by REAO-6124-A organism. The fossil of REAO indicates it was a large carnivorous prehistoric bird capable of sustained high-velocity flight. Its diet consisted largely of quadrupedal mammals captured alive. So to prevent large birds, assumingly pterodactyls, but large birds from eating it, when they move by at high speeds, they go, oh, hey, cow. They forget what they were doing.
Also, no, this wouldn't be pterodactyls or pteranodons. Those didn't tend to move fast from what we know of them.
It would be kind of funny seeing a pterodactyl flying nowadays, but it's moving at like 10 miles per hour.
So I said it's a Megaraptor. There's a thing in Ark called a Megaraptor, which is just this big kind of. It's not like a fully flying creature, but it can leap and it moves really, really fast and like hovers and flits for a bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, pseudo glider.
Yeah.
REAO 6124-A was exceptionally long-living, anomalously so, and evidence of its impact on mammalian populations dates back to the late I know how to say this, but I'm having a struggle.
Mesozoic?
Yeah, Mesozoic era. I think it was the S and the Z together. The circumstances resulting in its death, occurring sometime prior to the Neolithic age, are undetermined. SCP-6124 likely deterred B. taurus' selection as a prey animal by REAO before the latter perished. Its presentation in humans remains unexplained, outside of hypothetical similarities in how REAO and humans process ED visual cognitohazards. And then an addendum, its effects on humans. Footage captured by front-facing and rear-facing cameras of Dr. Skylar's vehicle, recorded as she and Dr. Reams approached Site 17 in the morning of 08/16/2009. Skylar drives as Reams observes the countryside from the passenger seat.
You'll be Skylar or Reams?
I'll be Reams, because I like the name Dr. Reams. Dr. Reams is a very inspired name.
So do I.
Begin log. I'll narrate too. Skylar clears her throat and double checks her phone navigation app before returning her attention to the road. Reams nods toward the pasture the two are approaching. Cows.
Love those guys.
Yeah. Both return to silence as the cattle pass. After a minute, Reams nods towards the gated enclosure to the right. Horses.
Nice. Those guys are cool too.
And log.
So is it all quadrupedal mammalian animals had this 6124 in it, is the idea? That's why they're still around. They didn't get predated to death. Because everything that moved fast was just like, hey, you're cool. Kept going.
To be fair, it is actually kind of a good survival mechanism. Yeah. If something's moving like exceptionally fast, you probably want it to have a positive opinion of you instead of just getting strafed.
It's one hell of a biological mutation in evolution to just be like, instead of evolving armored plating or weapons to fight back, I'm just gonna make them think I'm cool because they're going so fast.
Because to be fair, that's the most effective. Can't get past the cognitohazard unless it doesn't have eyes. So be wary of giant bats, cow. Even though bats can see.
Oh, is that why the chupacabra is still around?
Oh god, maybe. Because
it's not like a fully visual creature. They're like primarily auditory. There's like
they developed to counter mammalian supremacy.
If there's not a chupacabra SCP, maybe the chupacabra is actually REAO's evolution. The REAO organism
6124B.
Yeah. Because it could be like a bat thing that the chupacabra is supposed to be like bat related, from what I remember.
Kind of it depends on it, but I usually see it as like super scrawny, kind of anteatery, bloodsucky. Would you ever want to get sucked by a chupacabra force?
No.
Good.
But I like the implication there.
The skull. There is a picture of the skull of a partially recompleted REAO 6124-A fossil contained at Paleontological Site 23. And it is that kind of cone-shaped bird, so it makes me think raptor pterodactyl.
Yeah. Well, let's see if I can find the it's not Google Ark.
Raptordactyl.
Just in case. Ark Mega Rap.
Terroraptor.
Well, there are terror birds in Ark.
Oh god, I kind of like the term terror bird because it sounds so menacing.
Okay, apologies. Megaraptor's not from Ark core. Megaraptor's from the
mod
I'm playing, but they are based on the Microraptor.
I'm sorry, Megaraptor sounds like the opposite of the Microraptor. How are they related?
It's an evolved form of the Microraptor. It's basically the same model and stuff, just upgraded. The Megaraptor is just a much larger version. This is the Microraptor, and these are the most evil. They are one of the three triad of evil monstrosities of Ark.
Ooh, they chose like the avian. Can I just say, it was probably a big disruption post Jurassic Park to realize that most dinosaurs were like actually somewhat avian and had feathers.
Mm-hmm. All the raptors in this game have like feathered parts to them. Like even like normal raptors have like feathered headlines and like underarms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So I shouldn't feel bad when I eat chicken, right? I'm literally conquering dinosaurs. No, this is what's left of your ancestry, and I deep fried it with 7 different seasons.
You should be proud of yourself for eating this little bastard's ancestors.
Just know,
I don't want
give it a couple million years. I'm gonna cuck you.
Don't want to explain why Microraptors, why Pagomastics, and why Ichthyornis are the 3 triad of evils of Ark, because I want you to experience them without knowing what's coming.
If I had to guess, small, fast, and fucking vicious.
Small and fast, but other things. Oh. They can be vicious, but if you're relatively smart or prepared, they're not really deadly. They're just annoying in that way. It's the other things they can do that make nightmarish hell creatures.
I hate them already.
I do love the Microraptors in terms of like appearance and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, all the Ark designs, because I've seen creature designs from Ark. Magnifique. I give it chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Big dino boys.
All right. Well, speaking of annoying things, I have a series of irksome rectangles to show you.
Irksome rectangles.
Yep, that is this story from, again, the Wanderer's Library. A series of irksome rectangles by Jack Manganese.
I love that last name, but first, remember, boys, we have I had a few ideas from our
right.
excursion.
Your idea. Sorry, I got stuck on Microraptors.
First off, Dr. Reed, please. I just want him to be used elsewhere. His entire shtick is just reaming. Oh no! Would you want your proctologist to be Dr. Reed?
Nope. If I had an appointment with a proctologist and they were like, his name is Dr. Reams, I'm like, can I get a new proctologist?
Please?
I feel comfortable with this one. Sorry, he's a professional. He's the best in the business. He always gets real in there.
He's very thorough. That's his accreditation.
So I guess I'm just moving 500 miles away then. He's the only proctologist in the entire world.
All other proctologists, he absorbed all other proctologists. He gained their abilities and their potency. Oh no, that was just Highlander, but with doctors. Doctors and like skilled professions can literally assimilate each other to steal their skills and their barred from practicing ever again.
I was literally just thinking, what if you just had like a series of doctors who each their last name is like a verb. It's like an action you take. So you have like Dr. Flies, and all he does is fly. Like he's just a doctor because of his ability. There's nothing else.
Oh, he has a doctorate in his ability. That's why he's Dr. Fly. I went to college for 10 years to get this name.
Dr. Knife. Dr. Knives versus Dr. Stabs. Who will win? You call that a knife? This is a knife.
The classic knives versus stabs dilemma, alright? I got my one's more flexible, but the other's more specialized. Who will win? Well, I love the idea of just going to school for mechanics.
and then over on the side is Dr. Penetrates, who's just standing there like, clearly I'm a superior.
Obviously.
I can mean I'm not many things. I like that the more general their name is.
Objects technically penetrate your skull.
So make this goblins. Make this a tribe of goblins. It's a tribe of activity. Each goblin has a name based on the thing that they do, and when they win in a battle, they're allowed to take their opponent's name, and the more times they like rank up amongst their tribe, they get a more general term as a name. So like,
so at first it's
Doctor
like Dr.
Knives is like, well, it'd be like Dr. Slow Walking.
Specific knife.
Dr. Knives with Bowie knife. But then he becomes Dr. Stabs with metal.
Dr. Stabs with metal versus Dr. Pierce's heart to Dr. Pierce. Be careful. Actually, the shorter the name, the more dangerous he is.
Oh my god, it's a bunch of goblins who found like a manga. Learned the language.
So now they've just slowly assimilated bits and pieces of it. I love the idea of them actually having a school too. They have official tests for you to earn your name, to upgrade your name, or through combat.
I like the idea. I actually really like the idea now. We've kind of made it as a joke, but I really like the idea of just like a hidden, kind of like what's the place in Black Panther?
Wakanda,
kind of like a goblin Wakanda. Just like a goblin society, like hidden somewhere that's like protected by powerful magics and stuff like that. It's actually just a whole bunch of like goblins who are sitting there, kind of like just way beyond what they should be capable of, and everybody thinks of goblins as these like monstrosities or shit like that, but they're actually just like really good. And they
these like Renaissance high tier goblins.
Yep, they sneak amongst the other goblins and like slowly proliferate new ideas. Oh my god, this could be a whole like villainous campaign. It's like these goblins have suddenly started using metal weaponry, and we don't know where they got it because it's not like human forged. They haven't stolen it from anyone. We're guessing they got it from the orcs in the west because it looks kind of like orc handiwork. And then as you like dig more and more into it, they more and more goblins. The goblins get more and more progressive, and then you end up like with goblins with like plate armor and shit like that.
And they end up like more sophisticated. Tactics. Because eventually you find like the core goblins who have like actually advanced chemistry, technology, weaponry. The God King Goblin who sits at the core of the throne.
I like the idea of the party is like, all right, we're going to fight you. You got to stop this. You're destroying the world. And the goblin's just like, okay. starts opening fire with like, not even like... No, he's a gun fu. He uses gun fu, but not even like black powder Renaissance firearms, like full on modern semi-auto pistols that he's just like ducking and dodging and unloading like 4 rounds into something. Gun fu goblin. I'm gonna make him at least.
He does sound cool. Oh god, now that you said this, unfortunately I have to steal it because I've been looking for a setting to create like a small little generic game using the action gun system I've been tinkering with. And hey, Gun Fu Goblin sounds like a pretty good fantasy, but every enemy just has guns and has
everybody was Gun Fu fighting.
Literally, you can make a bomb-ass track using like gunshots as part of the music. I love gunmetal. I feel like gunmetal is something more specific, but when I hear gunmetal...
it's the metal that the gun is made out of. Duh.
Obviously. Oh, damn, gunmetal's actually kind of cool.
You look up gunmetal music?
No, I just typed in normal gunmetal, but the cogs and like gears look really cool. Ooh. I don't know why this picture is so like obscenely aesthetic.
I do have a mod that might also encourage you. Just going back to
tried to bait me into Ark for a
second. Yeah. There is a mod for Ark that adds a whole layer of steampunk technology. Also, the end tier of like when you start getting into end game Ark, you're playing with sci-fi power armor and shit. It's just in case you're interested in that kind of shit.
Yeah, because it's Rust with dinos, and honestly, that is a gripping concept. I would like to severely sidetrack us to a completely different world and say, when I typed in gunmetal, I got a link for a 2003 Steam game called Gunmetal.
Yeah,
it actually looks kind of awesome. You are a mech that just shoots the shit out of things, and you can transform into airplanes, tanks, etc. It's this weird third-person shooter aerial combat hybrid. And I just appreciate it for existing.
If I got that and I got a server for that, would you play that with me?
Hey, it can run on fucking Windows 98, so yeah, probably.
All right. Any other ideas? We kind of like went off on a fucking rampage there.
That is true, but yeah, just a general like a creature that develops a cognito resistance to make you like it, and as a survival mechanism. It has no natural defenses, but it dissuades like almost all predators by looking at it. Because in a way, we've actually forced this upon creatures like dogs, etc. We bred them to be cute, so we're less likely to kill them.
Like that is the implication of why they're cute, and they're not just cute because they realized it would make people like them and trust them, and then they can get free food.
Nah, we bred them. We bred them that way.
No, see, we bred pugs.
Oh god. Would you like to have the pug conversation?
Nope.
We're gonna get real off track.
Nope. We're gonna move on to a series of arcs and rectangles.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Geometric
shape. Oh, you sent me gunmetal. Okay.
I will be right back. I need to hydrate before I get arced out of all fluids left. Don't worry, Forrest. I'll be right here with you.
He's lying. He's not here. He's gone. I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. My problems have all grown. There's no one to deride me. I'm not singing the happy part of this song because I'm just sad. Alright, so we will begin with a series of Arcsome Rectangles by Dr. Manganese. Notice to all library patrons.
Wait, Forrest, he's not Dr. Manganese, he's Jack Manganese.
Jack Manganese, I apologize. We're not all doctors here in the library. Some of us are just scholars.
Without goblins, we have to go to school for that.
This is so funny.
It's a process. I have to respect the title.
Notice to all library patrons. Magazine inserts are a commonplace, if somewhat vexatious, sight, especially in our periodical section and on the floor of the nearby reading room. Please be advised, however, that these irksome rectangles remain the property of the library, and that its diverse inmates will not tolerate damage to or destruction of these items. Please refrain from discarding, folding, or marking on these inserts. From time to time, the librarians will collect these cards and file them appropriately in the cabinets labeled Aleph 19 through Semic 44. Duplicate subscription cards are available at the periodicals desk. The archivist on duty can provide assistance if you wish to subscribe to one of these magazines. But on no account should you attempt to do so without guidance, lest you become encumbered with material which is incomprehensible, imaginary, or hostile to your form of life. Thank you for your kind attention, and please enjoy your time at the library. Balthazar Rellant, Periodicals Department.
Can I get a bit of material that is all in one, that is both incomprehensible, imaginary, and hostile to my form of life?
Yes, absolutely could.
It's called the Fuck My Shit Up fam tile.
That sounds pretty comprehensible for something that's incomprehensible.
Yes, this is true.
All right. So, you're going to read the little green box and then do like description / readout of the thing, and then we're just going to alternate every green box through these.
Okay. So here we first have the pre-printed subscription card from Lannis Ty?
I'm sorry. Something like that. I didn't realize that's what that was. I didn't realize that was in there. This actually brings us to a list of pages with, it looks like something to do with lizard people. There's a bunch of stuff about lizard people or reptilians or like a marsh planet.
For Plansthai, 1983, issue 24, filed in cabinet Yod 55, shelf 14, box 33. Subscribe to Plansthai with a big red check bar. Yes! Exclamation point. Please send me 5 years of Plansthai for amazingly low prices of one true name of an unknown god. That's just 0.00385 of a true name per issue, and savings of 57% off the cover price.
Wait. We can do this. We can do this. Calculator. Hold on. 5 years times 365 days is 1,825. Is that
I don't think it says how many issues you get though. Like if it's a weekly or a monthly based issue release.
That's why I'm multiplying it by the point the amount of a true name per issue.
Because
right? Because then
I guess they'll tell you how many issues per true name.
Wait. Yeah, so what's the math here? Okay, what's the equation here that we're solving?
It'll be 1 divided by that number, so you get 259.7 issues for every true name. And that's apparently a 57% saving, so the deal they're giving you, the plus 57% off, is 259. If you didn't have that discount, it would be... I'm not doing this shit. I know how to do this, but I forgot because it's in my Algebra 2 book. I'm not going
no, because you just got to figure out the equation, right? So if you wanted to solve for x being a true name, you know that an issue costs 0.00385, and you get a number of issues over a 5-year period. So that 5-year period, you need to figure out how many issues you get in that 5-year period.
Oh, damn, you want to divide it by years, too. I would just, for the actual math for it.
I'll do the math
you want to do it in the back
another time. For those of you at home who want to do it for your own curiosity, you have a 5-year subscription for the cost of 1 true name, which is the unsolved variable, which is equal to 0.00385 of x per issue. We don't know the number of issues, so we don't know x or y. X being the true name, and we don't know y.
You know the x, it's just 1, because it's 1 true name.
Oh, that's true. True name.
So the only thing you don't know is how many true names per issue, or how many issues you get per true name. So it'd be 1 divided by 0.0035, and that's how I got 259.7. That's how many issues you get for every true name, but this is a discounted price because that figure is a 57% savings.
You don't have to worry about that because you're calculating it based on. You know what? Let's finish reading this.
This is true.
Because it might actually tell us.
I would be a little bit embarrassed if it just tells us later on. Small checkbox, yes. And it says, please send me a year and a day of Planistai for the low price of a breath of fish, 2 identical snowflakes, a spider's voice, or a single feather from a phoenix's wing. That's more than 29% off the cover price. So 29% off for a whole year and a day's subscription. I'm just kind of curious, for that descriptor, it wants a breath of fish, 2 identical snowflakes, a spider's voice.
Oh.
Or, instead of all that, just a single feather from a phoenix?
Wait. Breath of a fish, 2 identical snowflakes, a spider's voice, or a single feather from a phoenix's wing. I think it's any one of those things.
Oh. Okay, so any...
Because it's not a segmented list. Like, it doesn't,
these are all
semicolon into a single feather from a phoenix wing if the other list was all one.
I feel like a breath of the fish would be the easiest thing to collect here. Maybe like a spider's voice, unless you have to do some magical woo-woo in order to achieve it. Breath of a fish, just squish them a little bit. You'll get a breath. Do you have a small checkbox okay for subscribe to Planistai, which is just send me 6 months of Planistai for only 799 drams of white lamb's blood. 3 easy payments of 275 drams each. Or checkbox no. I do not want to take advantage of this amazingly generous offer. I don't care about the latest news and gossip from the hidden world. The secrets of the cosmos itself hold no interest to me. My life is boring and mundane, and I want it to stay that way. Oh, fucking disses you. Because actual ads do this shit for, no, I don't want to take advantage of deals. I'm actually just a fucking loser who won't pay 799 drams of white lamb's blood. And we have a signature for Anthony Lavoisier. The address is Cimetière de Pictibus, Paris. I feel like that's probably an actual place now. It's so French.
No phone number listed.
And the payment will automatically be collected by the most convenient means. Alternate methods of payment may be available. Contact our main office for more details. 2 to 3 fortnights for the delivery of the first issue. Wash hands and eyes thoroughly before opening. This one card has actually reignited something within me.
Oh.
I remember why I love capitalism. Just for this one card. It's so good. I love the smarmy ads. It does. Here's so the best part. For me.
You haven't even read the like little jokes at the bottom that are like the like options you can mark when.
For large print, braille, infrared, or ectoplasmic. It actually has like a small voice box next to it.
Yep.
So I guess it speaks to you in ectoplasm. And please call 680, or no, it's ID number 680-55-1034 with the Scorpio astrological sign mixed with what looks like Pisces -02 satanic female sign 6797.
Yeah, I love that. All right. My turn. Notification card from the final fish. Jesus, fuck, brain. Ooh. What the fuck? Notification card from the final issue of the non-referential journal. Filed in cabinet Yod 12, shelf 13, box 2. Notice. Final issue. All in a big blue box. Loyal reader. For decades, the non-referential journal has brought you complete and up-to-date lists of all magazine articles that do not reference themselves. We have been... It's now referencing itself. We have been an invaluable resource for logicians and philosophers everywhere, and had hoped to continue this tradition, but sadly, it is not to be. It has recently been noted that the non-referential journal, being a magazine itself and having never referenced itself, should of course be listed within itself. Yep, there it is. The thoughtful reader will immediately realize that doing so would cause the non-referential journal to reference itself, thereby making it ineligible for listing in the non-referential journal. Of course, by not being listed, our magazine once again must be listed. Despite our best efforts, we have been unable to resolve this problem, and therefore, with regret, we must cease publication of the non-referential journal. Our sister publication, the Epimenidus Quarterly, will continue to be published despite what you may have read in that publication. It is well known that everything printed in the Epimenidus Quarterly is a lie.
God damn it.
I just have to double check because I can't remember what Epimenidus means.
Deceit, if I had to guess from context clues. Oh no, it's a specific chaos philosopher. Epideminus of Kronos was a semi-mythical 7th to 6th century Greek seer. Philosopher and poet. Why is he associated with lying?
Turning his scholarship, he said that fallen asleep for 57 years.
He's credited with the paradox of the liar, in the sense which says that, I think he created the "this statement is false" paradox.
Oh, okay. Yours with consistency, editor Bertrand Russell.
Wait, does that mean that so this actual paper must now be filed in the Epideminus, the non-referential journal. Then again, it's ceasing publication. It doesn't need to be added.
Here's the question, though: was this intentional? Bum bum bum. It was actually just. Well, it's actually just a ploy to plug their other article, Epimenidus, which is doing much better than this one. They want to transition manpower to managing the Epimenidus articles, but
actually, if you were curious whether or not this is true, just read the Epideminus Quarterly and believe the opposite of what it says.
All right.
Actually,
your turn. Oh my god,
funny.
It's your turn.
God damn it! Again,
another one from
Plenisci.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
2008 issue 3. 47 identical copies of this card were found in one magazine. Several had unexplained charring around the edges and were discarded. One copy filed in the cabinet CAF 02, shelf 6, box 19. I love these random little organizational logistics bits. It's cute. I like them. From your friends at Plenisci. You aren't my friends. Dear friend,
I don't know. They reignited your love of communism.
That was about to be the wrong word for it.
Capitalism.
You got yourself. To better serve you, our beloved customer Plenisci.
They reignited my love of communism.
Don't project that onto me. Very different thing. To better serve you, our beloved customer, Planetsty has simplified and consolidated its operations. The result will be in substantial savings to you, apostrophe, to you. According, in the future, you may notice some minor changes to our format. In particular, starting with this issue, we are no longer publishing in antimatter form. If you have been receiving the antimatter edition of Planetsty, please be careful with a small, I guess it's a footnote, but it could also be a cross in this context.
It's just a separate
it is a
footnote, yeah.
Please be careful while handling the current issue. All future issues. Also, we highly recommend, with a secondary footnote, that you avoid eye contact with this card.
They actually point to the same footnote, which is funny.
For safety tips and advice are provided as a courtesy. Neither Planetsty publisher nor the publisher's parent company is liable for any damage caused by mutual annihilation of matter and antimatter, release of gamma radiation, or other physical phenomena. Please be assured that these changes will in no way affect the exceptional reporting quality, apostrophe, or outstanding editorial standards, apostrophe, of the publication. Planetsty will continue to provide the finest information and entertainment for years to come. Footnote: the exact definition or degree of some words may vary from the expected value of the customer. Neither Planetsty or its publishers nor the publisher's parent company are liable for any losses or damages caused from any lexical or verbal misunderstandings or disparagement.
You missed an asterisk. It says, with all sincerity, asterisk, your friends at Planetsty, and then you give the definition of the asterisk.
Oh yeah, you're right. I missed these. With all sincerity, also applies. The exact definition degree of words may depend and be different from the expected of customer. Neither Planetsty nor its publisher nor its publisher's parent company are liable for any dangers or damages caused by any lexical or verbal misunderstandings or disagreement.
And the cross, which was linked to "Please be careful,"
the safety tips.
We highly recommend it. Yep.
Because theoretically, they just said they'd stop publishing an antimatter edition, but this notice that they're stopping publishing an antimatter edition is in matter edition, so they recommended you not look at this card. God,
oh my god, that's just like the fucking emails you get where they hide the unsubscribe button, and except in this case, it's like we've printed it. We don't print an antimatter anymore, so here's a matter version. Whoa, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to kill me? You trying to annihilate me?
Planetsty is not responsible for any loss of limb or life. Exactly. We are legally obligated to give you this notice.
Delete. And now we have their bank account.
Oh, goody! Their bank information suddenly became very free. Planetsty can sue you if you died using any of their products for the bad PR damage. Now
they receive all material possessions.
It turns out you signed away like you gave us a position in your will due to signing up to the magazine subscription.
All right, next and last one. They are your friends, aren't they?
No, they're not, but I love them.
All right. The final one. Subscription card found inside a box labeled apples and oranges. It is presumably for the Smiljan report, although it is difficult to be sure. Filing cabinet, Lemon 38, shelf 9, box 71. It is a green box with a slightly darker green or more vibrant green little rectangle at the box for a title spot. But there is no title there. For those of you who can't see at home, it says this card has no title in the title box. Please check exactly one of the following boxes. A. By checking box A, you will receive one free introductory issue of the Smiljan report. Further issues will arrive at the rate of 1 per month. You may cancel at any time. Also, please note that this is the absolute truth, but that box B is a complete...
Oh my god, we're doing this!
Box B. By checking box B, you will receive one free introductory issue of the Smiljan report. Further issues will arrive at the rate of 1 per month. You may cancel at any time. Also, please note that this is the absolute truth, but that box A is a complete lie. Box C. By checking box C, you will get no issues of the Smiljan report. Instead, you will receive a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Further issues will not be delivered, not even at the rate of 1 per month. You may not ever cancel. Also, please note that this is completely and absolutely true, just like one of box A and box B, but not the other. And it has for you to fill out your name, address, city, phone, and email. If I asked you if "ja" meant yes, what would you say as a question? And then it has a fill in the blank. What would you say?
No.
I would say yes, just because if I asked you if you were a liar,
concept of "ja."
If I asked you if you were a liar, would you say "ja"?
No.
No. Actually, Yeah. I've lied before.
I just wouldn't say yeah.
Well, no, I would say yeah, because I've just said
you've agreed that yeah is yes, and then you would reply yeah in your box. So not yes, you would say yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said when I changed it the first time. I said I'd say no, and I said wait, no, I'd say yeah. All right. Your free issues of the Smillian report will be delivered within 4 to 6 weeks, but you will not be able to predict the exact day on which it will arrive. Additional delay may occur if you live on an island with a significant population of knights and knaves, sane and insane zombies, or Kurt Goodell. Offer void in Alea, Transylvania, and within 500 yards of any Greek hero riding a tortoise.
If Kurt Goodell is on your island, we do not provide a service to this area within a 500-mile radius of Kurt Goodell.
This gave me a really silly idea for a curse. You have a curse that you place on somebody and they just get random pop-up advertisements like in their periphery. It's just like it's just like in the middle of combat there's just a 1 in 20 chance that they get a pop-up advertisement when they go to cast a spell and they have to make a concentration save because it pops up to cast the spell and shit like that. So it's actively
or break concentration.
It's actively interferes with their everything they do. Anytime they take an action, there's you roll a d20 or DM rolls a d20, and if it's a 1, they get a pop-up and they have to respond to the pop-up.
You have to take a bonus action or action to close it if they can't succeed in resisting.
No, they have to use an action to refuse it, but a bonus action to accept. And the accept is here's how because you have to find the close, right? So they can stop their action to take instead use their action to close it, but if they don't, then they have to make a concentration check while it's up in order to cast spells. And they have to roll a check of some kind to make attacks and to do other actions. Basically, they have to make a concentration check to make their action.
But I like the bonus action to accept, and then you roll on a wild magic table for what the fuck did you just accept?
Exactly. Or no, you roll beforehand. You roll on a chart of or you'd have it pre-generated or something, just 100 100 of these. Of just different advertisements, each one that you can bonus action to agree with. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. So you get a bonus, you get a thing that pops up in the middle of your action, and it's this is a courtesy calling. We are calling to offer you a lifetime extended warranty on your cart.
Extended warranty? We're offering you an extended warranty on your sword. It and might actually give you a breakable.
Well, yeah, if you accept, then it's you just get say you accept the cart one. If you don't own a cart, you get a cart that is unbreakable, that lasts for a month, and then whenever you roll that again until the cart disappears, if you roll that one again, you just reroll, get a different one. So by accepting them, warranty. But then you've got some that are notice, would you like to have all expenses paid lifetime? No, what are the old fucking timeshare?
Oh, it's
advertisements.
All expenses paid, free vacation to if we want to joke as you get sent to the 9 hells.
That's exactly where I was going.
Resort.
To the hottest resort in the 9 hells.
Popularity. It's a tourist hotspot. Keeps referring to.
Yep, all those. And if you accept it, you just take a bunch of fucking fire damage or an R on fire for 24 hours.
I was gonna say it banishes you to one of the fucking 9 realms for 24 hours. You got your vacation. The only way back is if someone casts banish
here's the best
on you
part,
while you're there.
Having an advert up doesn't stop you from getting another advert. It increases the DC to overcome it for each new advert you have as they pop up and fill up more of your visual space. Please
download more RAM for your computer. You download RAM. Congratulations. You now have the magical disease known as RAM. Random autoimmunal. I don't know if there's a good acronym for it. Autoimmune mutation syndrome. You continue to mutate for the next month.
You roll on the wild magic chart at the end of each long rest and get that for the next 24 hours. Unless it's Fireball, in which case you just roll again. This is probably my favorite thing I've ever fucking created. Just the pop-up advertisement curse.
I love the smarmy capitalist aesthetic for buffs and debuffs is really fun. Because I told you earlier I was thinking about the proper aesthetic for the project I was making, and I want this aesthetic now.
You get, if you roll 100 on the chart of like adverts, it's an advert for an anti-malware program. And if you accept it, you get that advert every churn. But you don't roll for the rest of like the day. So
you're immune.
Yeah, so you just keep getting that advert, but you can keep using your bonus action to just keep accepting it. And just until the next long rest, it'll just keep popping up every time you take an action. So it's like you basically lose your bonus action or just like get stacking debuffs or whatever. But you're immune to any of the other like potential adverts.
You take the devil
we just created AVG in D&D for magical curses.
Hooray! I think ? Oh, you poor dual wielder if he gets if he accepts the malware one.
The best way to do this would be to put it inside of like a guild hall as a lair event. So instead of like every
welcome to the spam fortress
action you take, well, it just be like a capitalist like guild hall. It's just when you walk into this guild hall, you get random adverts that you can, when you're role playing, you just like deny that you just
auto deny. But if you're fighting at the same time,
but yeah, if you end up having to fight, then it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna close it. Okay, well, you have to find the way to close it because it's hidden in there, and you've seen a lot of these, but it still takes an action to close, or bonus action to accept
where they hide it.
Yeah, and so just on initiative 20, everybody gets an advert, except for like employees.
Because they actually have the ad. Oh, this would make it really cool too. If you kill the employee, you can take their ad block ID, and that would make you immune to the adverts.
You just take their employee ID card and clip it on. It's like a magical item that makes you immune to the lair action.
Likewise, though, you could steal. If they're still alive, you yoink it off. Damn it! No, I don't want to accept. Ooh, free vacation. Clicks and gets banished.
I do really like that though, as like a just like a fun, weird quirk to like a fight with a boss. You're just fighting like the CEO of a guild, and it's just you just get random adverts.
Please buy our extended warranty. Oh, actually, Forrest, you can recreate Spamton very faithfully this way. He can throw ads at you, or even worse, force you to accept. You've played Deltarune, or you know what Deltarune is.
I know what it is. I have not played it. I have not looked at anything from it because I am intentionally avoiding it so that when I know it's got like 8 fucking chapters, so it'll be like a decade when it's done.
Oh, but, Jesus, you're actually waiting till the whole thing
releases. I'm going to play the whole thing all at once, which is my excuse for never actually playing it.
Yeah, Spamton's is just a fun character. No spoilers, but he's a fun character whose namesake is very much this. His existence is that style.
You can make a spam bot who first introduces you to this concept. It's just like an advertisement. Oh my god! In the Goblin City, they just have these little
spam bot.
Well, they just have these little automatons that go around and advertise like classes and stuff like that, and like different things. And so they don't actually like. So it's actually. Oh my god!
University.
It goes complete opposite of what you'd expect from goblins, because goblins are a communal thing, right? Communism is like the whole, like, they're societal creature.
Capitalist goblins.
Capitalist, hyper-capitalist, really competitive goblins who are all hyper-educated.
Super, like, not quite meritocratic, but it's like super cutthroat thing. This is why I love like Hyperion from Borderlands. I just love the like dystopic capitalist setting.
Well, you have to live in it.
Well, yeah. Look, hey, most of the things I love are terrible to live in.
The way there. The only thing I love about like the crazy mega corpo societies and all those cyberpunk shit is the fucking cybernetics. I want cybernetics so bad. I will be your advertise. I will take 50 fucking adverts every fucking day if I can have badass cyborg legs.
Good cyborg parts would have. I think my first replacement would be my eyes or arms, because those are usually the first to give out after a long gaming session.
I'd probably do arms. I don't know that I'd ever do both of my eyes. I'd probably do one eye. Just because I have this thing. I probably would never do both of anything that I have two of.
Just in case you would not be inoperable. If something hurt one, it couldn't hurt the other.
Partially that, but also I kind of like the dual.
Oh, you like being asymmetrical.
Aesthetic, too. Yeah, asymmetry of it. Of like one metallic arm, one like fleshy arm. Especially you can get like tattoos all up the fleshy arm. Like that'd be the only reason I get tattoos is I get like circuitry tattoos or something on my organic
which
arm.
One's real?
Well, it's pretty clear which one's the real one, but it's the idea of like the metal fake one would be made to look mostly humanoid, but would be clearly metal, whereas the human one would then be made to look as metal and cybernetic as possible, but it's clearly the human one. And so it's just this weird dichotomy there. I just like that aesthetic.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
All right. You have another SCP for us? We've got like 15 minutes before our technical normal end of recording time.
You know what? I just want to stick on the capitalist idea because I'm still fleshing out specifically the project that I was going to make, because my goal is with the little combat system that I made, and this has been like my little personal hobby project, getting it just right. And only recently am I like well enough to start doing animation manipulation again. I'm going to make a dedicated project, which is using all the aesthetics and stuff that I have, and one that's just a fun test demo, just a solo one-off venture that's totally harm-free. And me remembering, oh my gosh, I love like grimy capitalism. I think the premise so far is fantasy creatures, but have been explicitly abducted by a sci-fi capitalistic dystopic society. So now they have like this weird, almost like fantasy slum on a spaceship. It plays like a normal fantasy game until instead, when you're about to leave your little farm village from whatever race you picked, they give you a gun instead. And it just goes from there. Your quest is just to come back from like I love the dichotomy of being like
you could very easily do this as like a situation of the introductory period is actually on a planet on a farm as like a fantasy race that you pick, whatever. And you use like some sort of magical tool that replicates gun combat. So you're like fighting like that, and you're still implementing all the gun mechanics through this magical tool. And then just at the end of the story, you just get yoinked up with a bunch of other people. It's like, you live here now on our spaceship. Here's your gun.
Yep. Oh god, that'd be the perfect, because this is another mechanical thing that I've been so sad more games haven't implemented. A way of like you know how in Dark Souls you could choose your starting class? I prefer that to be like a whole small game thing. Fuse your tutorial with you choosing your starting background. And that's just the perfect prologue.
I would say if you want that to be a core to your thing, make it a non-required core. Like give them the option somewhere that's obvious that allows them to just go, I just want to pick from a list. Because there are some people who are going to be like, oh fuck, I have to remember what thing I have to do to get this because I want to play this specific like thing. Whereas if you leave it open, first, I would say on your first playthrough, if you want to get real fucking fancy with it, on the first playthrough, you don't tell them this is happening. You don't give them the option whatsoever. And then at the end of the prologue, you do the Fallout thing, where it's like, hey, you're about to leave the prologue. Here's what you selected by your choices and actions in the prologue. You can choose to change it now, and in any future saves on this system, if you start, you can just skip straight to this point and make the choices directly. You don't have to play through the whole thing again. Or you can play through it again and see what your future choices give you.
Yeah, because I like fusing that nice little bit of story and background creation, because the most of it should probably be on like after post abduction. But the initial part, I love the I think I've come up with the core conceit. The initial part is like this small little fantasy planet doesn't know it, but they're like, because Endless Legend did this too, where that entire fantasy planet is the remnant. It's a giant science lab that a precursor space civilization set up. The whole planet's slowly collapsing in on itself, and you have to escape it. That's how Endless Legend did it. Here, this planet's actually thriving, but it is built on the back of like that larger dystopic civilization. So that's why they start out with weapons and equipment they should not have. They do not have like melee weapons. They just have abundance of ammo, and they just like, oh hey, the nice bullet tree, because bullet trees are just native. It literally grows on trees here. Oof. And that's why the other civilization comes in and abducts them, specifically because they're harvesting this kind of technology, and unfortunately, they just so happen to be living on a planet with abundance amount of it.
Yep, works for me. I mean, it's easier.
This is true.
Did you have another SCP you wanted to share, or should I share my last story?
Is it the Shitty Goblin one?
It is the Shitty Goblin one.
Share me the Shitty Goblin one, because I'm curious what this was. You tantalized me with it in Discord.
It is called World's Shittiest Goblin. It's a bit longer than the other two we've read, but it is by... I don't actually see a name here, but it's like a picture of a dog monkey.
Did we read the author for Irksome Rectangles?
Yes,
that was Jack Manganese.
Jack Manganese. Dr. Manganese, as I like to call him. Yeah. I don't know who this is. It's literally just... Oh, Cerberus. It's hard to read, but if you mouse over where the name should be, it'll show up in the bottom left. wiki.com/userinfo Cerberus. So it's by Cerberus, so thank you very much, Cerberus. Content which I have already enjoyed, but which we are about to enjoy.
Thank you for the content.
Goblins. Horrid creatures. Hard to kill, with a lifespan of several hundred years if they don't get killed. These adaptive creatures have spread everywhere on their home planet Tesseria, plaguing all its people. Goblins are nothing but violence and destruction, smashing, killing, and burning everything that comes in their way. Granted, their IQ is in the single digits, so it's not like their brains have much storage space for other things anyway. Thankfully, their idiocy and small stature makes these rat-like creatures a much smaller threat than they consider themselves to be. Pretending to be dead will usually get them to move on, for they won't know the difference. However, there was once a goblin who was different from his brethren. Skrillex of the Toe-Biter tribe had been through some miraculous event of circumstances, been blessed, or cursed, depending on the viewpoint, with keen intellect at birth. While others of his tribe were busy pillaging and cutting off toes, which they wore in crudely made necklaces, Skrillex was more interested in studying the anatomy of the corpses the other goblins left behind, or pressing leaves and flowers between the pages of a book he had stolen from a human. Skrillex was frequently made fun of by his other tribe members, who couldn't understand why he did the things he did. He was made fun of for keeping his food over a fire before eating it, when everybody knew that fire was only for warmth and destruction. They made fun of him when he only stole those odd sliced boxes with symbols in them, when there were much tastier and shinier things to steal. I don't actually know what that is off the top of my head. Odd sliced boxes.
I think it's books. I think it's implying books. Because they're too stupid to even understand what a book is. The sliced box is a book with pages.
Oh, yeah. It would look sliced open. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That makes sense.
Skrillex, the goblin.
Because of his antics, Skrillex had become somewhat of an outcast, and he didn't feel like he belonged with the tribe. He knew that humans wouldn't take him in either, for they couldn't get past his scarred and wart-filled green skin, uneven needle-like teeth, or his 4 yellow eyes. He didn't blame them.
Damn, they have 4 eyes.
Yeah. Thoughts of where he could go and start his life anew circled his mind during one night, keeping him awake as he lied on the grass, looking up at the beautiful night sky. His kind thought the stars were the eyes of dead goblins, but he knew this to be not true. "There must be more than this out there," he said to himself.
Oh, I like the story now. I get the premise.
That was when the little goblin saw the thing that would change his life forever. A shooting star crossed the sky above him, leaving a glowing line in its wake, disappearing quickly afterwards. All of Skrillex' 4 eyes widened in surprise as his jaw dropped as low as it could, unhinging like that of a snake. In his mind, this confirmed that the sky was not just the roof of the world, that it was something impossibly large, far, far away. Despite assuming its magnitude to be enormous, Skrillex decided that he would go there. He needed to go there. He had to know what was out there.
Fun fact, his name is misspelled in the paragraph above this one.
Yep.
Because I was wondering, wait a second, is it changing?
From that point forward, he's earning his new doctorates.
He's now Dr. Skrillex, the bookin.
I'm glad you got the Skrillex joke I was going with. Yes. From that point forward, he was obsessed. Every hour, minute, and second of his waking hours, his mind was consumed by thoughts, plans on how to get so high. Allow me to introduce you to weed. He observed the flight of birds and insects, made miniature slingshots, ballistae, and other contraptions. Scribbling an empty notebook he had stolen full of illustrations and blueprints with coal he had taken from the fireplace. Despite all of his plans and ideas, nothing seemed to work. Skrillex began doubting his own intelligence, thinking that maybe he actually was just another dumb goblin. He was just about to give up when the town near his tribe had some sort of festival. He saw how the humans had put up strange, thick paper arrows with short strands of rope connected to the blunt end. They lit the ropes on fire, and when they burned all the way to the end, the rear of the arrows exploded, quickly propelling the arrows high up to the sky, with a trail of fire and sparkles trailing behind them, where they exploded in many bright colors. All the other goblins were terrified of this display, running and hiding in holes and tree trunks, but Skrillex was enamored. He simply stood there, the explosion in the sky reflecting of his large eyes. He understood that was what he needed, without the explosion in the end, of course. He managed to steal a few of the arrows and inspect them. He figured out that they had a fine black powder inside, which burned with intensity, creating propulsion that carried the arrows to the sky. However, Skrillex understood that he would need a continuous source of propulsion, which the powder could not provide. You want to take over?
Sure, because it is kind of long. His next subject of intrigue was energy. He understood that the arrows were carried by fire. Through examining the arrows and normal fire, he was able to deduct that there was some sort of connection between fire, heat, and movement. At the time, Skrillex obviously couldn't understand the exact nature of the connection,
just give away the fact that
light, heat, and movement were all things of energy. But it was enough that he could figure out that they could be converted into each other. Oh my god, my boy the Goblin is figuring out the law of thermodynamics.
Skrillex is the best boy. He's the best goblin boy.
He's a shitty goblin, but he's a great boy. All he needed now was something that he could burn either infinitely or for an impossibly long amount of time. But Skrillex knew that fire was a fast destroyer. His brothers and sisters used it all the time to burn the houses and people. He couldn't think of a single thing he could burn for so long. Once again, he was almost close to giving up. But then, his tribe had to take shelter from a storm in a deep cave. The walls of the cave were lined with blue glowing crystals. They called these crystals tingle rocks, because being close to them made the goblin's skin feel tingly, and touching them made their skin go numb for a while. However, others weren't so lucky. Skrillex observed that whenever an insect came close to the tingle rocks, it fell to the ground dead, sizzling slightly. "Heat!" he exclaimed. He watched as smoke rose from the bug. I was missing the. He knew that his kind were considerably more durable than any other creature on the planet. So he was able to conclude that whatever the rocks radiated was harmful to life, but barely affected him. He also understood that whatever they radiated was somehow related to fire. Thus, he thought, there must be a way to turn it into movement. The crystals weren't very strong, so Skrillex was able to easily break parts of them by smashing them repeatedly with a rock. He then took these rocks with him to experiment on them. He tried everything he could think of, but nothing he did would turn the radiation into movement. Well, it's a bit of a Freudian slip that they mentioned that it's explicitly radiation. One day, however,
I think that's meant to be for like your information. It's meant to tell the reader that it's a radioactive material, some kind of utilizing.
Yeah, I was assuming just some like generic like mana-giving rock, but I guess radiation works here. A magical radiation. One day, however, the Toebiter tribe
all magic
spotted
is
the king's messenger.
Radiation. Just manipulated through weird.
You're not entirely wrong.
Through weird.
You're not entirely wrong. There is probably a fun premise there for mana is literally radiation. You could probably reconstruct all spells under that guise.
Post-apocalyptic Fallout universe, but I kind of want to run this campaign now that I'm saying it. I'll get to it at the end. I'll get it to the end. It'll be my idea.
One day, however, the Toebiter tribe spotted the king's messenger riding on the road next to the forest. This, of course, looked like a full-course meal in the eyes of the goblins, who rushed out of the forest and crippled the messenger's horse by cutting its tendons with their blades. The messenger was carrying a beautifully ornate staff that had sides made of 2 different metals. He tried to use the staff to fight the goblins, and amidst the battle, Skrillex used one of his tinder locks. I keep going to call them tinder locks, even though I know they're tingle rocks. When I see that, I think tingle, or like tinder. Skrillex used one of his tingle rocks to block one of the messenger's strikes. As this happened, Skrillex witnessed how an arc of electricity shot out from the other end of the staff, shocking the messenger, who was quickly overwhelmed by the goblins and died a very horrible death.
Yep.
As the goblins swarmed over the bodies of the man and his horse, picking anything that piqued their interest, Skrillex managed to swipe the staff. He had seen lightning before, and he knew it set things on fire when it struck them. And even though the lightning he had just seen from the staff was small, he decided it would be worth experimenting with. Why is there a quotation mark there?
I don't know.
He is now Magic Gobbo. Upon experimenting with the staff
a wizard
and the rocks, he figured out that when that one end of the staff touched the rock, the other end... I'm sorry, let me start
the other end something.
He figured out that when one end of the staff touched the rock and the other end touched something else, small bolts of lightning were created. These bolts could set things on fire. On the tribe's next raid of the town, Skrillex stole any metal objects he could find, and some of the black powder that made the fat arrows fly. He tried to do the same thing with other metallic objects as he had done with the staff, but for some reason, that didn't have the same effect. He sat in the middle of the objects and thought to himself, what makes the staff different from the others? That's when he realized the 2 ends of the staff were made from different materials. He also tried what would happen when the other end of the staff touched the black powder, and to his great joy, the powder set aflame and exploded all over the place.
Yeah.
A plan started finally forming.
Big boom boom.
He took a class in Wizard.
This is so appropriate considering the idea we came up with that I completely forgot about this. Skrillex is the founder of the city that we discussed.
Oh god, yeah, because I was talking about a city where like the capitalist goblins who teach you courses. Please teach a course in explosions at GNU, Goblin National University. For months, Skrillex observed the town's blacksmiths.
Much better than GSU, Goblin State University.
No, it's a different college. You have the state goblin colleges and the national goblin colleges, and community goblin college.
And then there's the University of Goblin Kind.
UGK.
University of Goblin State, University of Goblin National, International Goblin University Complex.
They take foreign exchange students and teach them the ways of Gobbo. However, these degrees are not accredited anywhere else. It's just kind of fucked up. For months, Skrillex observed the town's blacksmith work from afar, and when night fell, he could sneak into the forge. He could sneak to work the forge.
He would sneak to work the forge.
He would. There's a lot of letters here. At first, he did small rods made of 2 metals like the staff, figuring out that they worked in a similar way. Then he started working on metal plates because he knew he would need some sort of capsule. These plates were made of a metal native to Tassaria, which was extremely durable, but still soft enough to be molded relatively easily. He would also, at the same time, roll away a barrel of gunpowder from the barracks every night. He would store all of these deep in the cave, hidden from humans and other goblins. I don't know why I went into that cadence. When he thought he had enough plates, he found a secluded clearing in the forest, where he used a hammer and a lot of nails to make a capsule the size of a human house. He just made a bomb. Just kind of sunk in for a second. I processed what I read. I'm like, oh no. The upper part was empty and had a front window made of pane glass. There was also a plush chair nailed to the floor. He thinks it's a rocket ship. This thing's a bomb. In the back of this part was a removable container. Inside of this container was a big chunk of tingle rock. Connected to this was a spark rod, as Skrillex called it, which crossed over the next part of the ship, but could easily be pulled out. In the back of the upper part, there were also dozens of powdered kegs, secured with a rope to keep them from moving. Behind the upper part, there was another container behind the one with the tingle rock. Connected to this other container was a large cone, which was the last part of the ship. This cone had a little handle on all sides, which could be used to pull it in different directions, meaning all of this work took Skrillex a few years.
Making all of this took Skrillex a few years.
Making all of this took Skrillex a few years. It wasn't pretty. The plates had dents and buckles in them, and it had odd angles and protrusions, but Skrillex was proud of it. When he was ready to launch, he called the other goblins to see his big bowl. Just gonna blow them all the fuck up. I'm going to the ancestors' eyes, he told them. What? Why would you want to ram yourself against the roof of the world? You're insane, they told him. Perhaps
Tom,
I
am. Is that you? I kind of wish Tom were here for this reading.
He does such a good goblin. Yeah,
I know.
It's me. I don't even remember what character voice that was. He just uses it so often. I forgot the original. And with that, he climbed aboard. He poured a lot of gunpowder into the big container. He secured himself with a rope to the chair and dropped the other container so that it connected to the other. The spark rod met the tingle rock, and the moment the other even end touched the powder, a small spark was born. There was a beat, as Skrillex was hoping that this would work, that all of the research and hard labor he had done wouldn't have been for nothing. Then he was pushed to the back of the chair with an immense force as the powder beneath him ignited and the capsule took off, carried by an immense, roaring fire that pushed out to the back of the capsule. As Skrillex of the Toebiter tribe, who you might nowadays know as the Library of Skrillex the Scholar.
From the library as Skrillex the Scholar.
Oh, who might nowadays be known from the library as Skrillex the Scholar, soared through the sky as Chief Toebiter Tribe. As the chief of the Toebiter Tribe. I have to pee. My eyes are darting back and forth.
Soared through the sky, the chief of the Toebiter Tribe, fully expecting Skrillex to impact the roof of the world and drop right back to the tribe, shook his head and said,
"He's truly the world's shittiest goblin." Skrillex, however, didn't impact with anything, and was soon floating in space behind his great 400-year adventure into the depths of space. I have to pee really badly.
Bum bum bum. Back to Ark, everybody.
Oh, that's so much better.
All right, welcome back. I was talking about dinosaurs. Don't worry about it.
Dinos.
All right.
I love Skrillex.
Skrillex is best boy. I forgot the idea that I had.
It was like related to Goblin and you when he was talking about how he stole all the gunpowder and figured out how to ignite it with the staff.
No. There was something in there that I completely forgot about. Oh, it was the post-apocalyptic thing with the radiation magic. Yeah, so Fallout-inspired universe or Fallout-style universe, where you gain you as a survivor of whatever event are irradiated, but the radiation is kind of like what we have in Illet right now, where people were like flooded with magic. Mm-hmm. Except in this case, for whatever reason, some genome, some like subdued mutagenic genome in your body activates, and you now draw radiation to. You kind of like inhale a radiation kind of naturally through your skin, osmosis it.
You don't process it the same way as most people. It might be harmful to them, but your body, you can use it beneficially.
Your body like stores it in like a sack. and then you can like excrete it back out in various ways to utilize magic and shit like that.
Because if you want to frame as like mana as radiation, you can re-get like evocation because you're fundamentally manipulating or inducing energy. You can get transmutation because you're basically just doing like fission small scale. Enchantment, well, I think if you irradiate someone enough, you can probably scramble their brains in an intentional manner. Etc. You can probably recreate all the schools. The only one that might be weird is necromancy, but hey, radiation is life overwhelming, so.
I mean, we have cancer, goals in Fallout, so I think we can figure out necromancy.
Anyways, in Fallout 4, there is a ghoul magician who literally just like does radiation magic. It was so strange because you didn't want the DLCs, but this technically exists now in Fallout canon.
I'm not surprised. Oh my god, I just decided to look at some things linked with mythological. And there's just a page called Twerk Witches, which we're not going to read today. But
bookmark it for later.
Do you have any ideas?
A lot of them are through the lens of the little project I'm working on. But yes, good old Skrillex. I want a cop, not only the Goblin University, but Skrillex teaches classes for it.
Can you make Skrillex your gun-fu goblin? Like badass, like head god, because he's the one who started it all, and he's like developed all this like gun-fu tech, and he's actually just a badass now.
Because ancient creatures that like live long would be able to like learn more about it and like really come to terms with like this planet and the weird tech amongst it. So
Skrillex is the first ancient goblin. He just looks like Yoda.
Yeah, he's like an ancient normal goblin, like a hobgoblin, because he's lived so long. Hobgoblin with a fucking rifle. Because his gun skills have increased as he's had so long to practice with firearms. Be careful of the legendary sniper goblin. He's tiny, but carries a very big cannon.
Get fucked, bitch. 360
literally no. He will actually no scope you. Be very careful.
Like the idea of seeing there's just this fucking goblin just jump down off of a building with a rifle, spin around, slam, and fire from the hip and kill somebody.
You?
Yeah, fuck you, bitch. 720 no scope. Booyah!
Proceeds to do the Fortnite dance because it's appropriate.
That's what the kids today call getting dunked on.
No scope, bitch. Runs over, teabag, spins around, runs away.
It's not actually, he's just gone senile. Is what it is.
Do you know how terrifying like a senile expert marksman like Goblin would be? You can't find the fucker, but he will always find you.
He's Don Skrillex OT. Just fighting random windmills.
And when he actually wins. Yeah, like a species that, when exposed to gunpowder, not only like heavily industrialized but modernized, and then gets taken out by an advanced sci-fi civilization. And now you have this weird mixture of cultures because they lived like somewhat rurally, but had modernized tech, and have since been uplifted by an even more advanced civilization and captured / enslaved because it's a dystopia. Gotta have a little bit of terribleness in your life.
Yeah. Sounds. Words. I had a response. I had a commentary to share because it's interesting, and just words fail English. Instead, I will read this singular line from the Twerk Witches because I opened it and it caught my eye immediately.
And wiped your mind.
Open quotation. The Sun Emperor, all caps, the Sun Emperor's 14th annual Electric Boogie Woo dance competition featuring DJ MC Escher. Close.
Escher or Usher?
Escher.
That's my favorite artist, yay! Pog. Escher.
There we go.
Escher's coming to the party.
We'll probably read that one next week because it doesn't look too long. And actually, no, it's incredibly long. But there's a person named Phineas. Which can only go well. I've just seen your name. Unless you have another idea, as you got back, I suddenly had to use the bathroom, But we're basically ready to be done.
Yeah, I think that's about all I've got. It's really, these set of stories have definitely helped me imagine the smaller little thing that I want to have. So I've got a bunch of assets I might as well play with. I just saw you sticking out your tongue because I was looking away from the camera for a second. I just flashed back and was I having a stroke? It will be why? Why are you like this? Why do you do the things that you do? He's continued to do it as I intermittently keep looking at the camera. I knew you were going to do it again too.
I didn't even do the same thing. I've been like flapping my tongue because it makes a light noise. That they can't actually hear it because of the way it filters out in the recording. Oh no, they can mildly hear it. But
it upsets me.
But I was doing that because the noise was like in my ear. I'm like, that's a funny noise. I didn't even realize what I was doing. And then you mentioned what I was doing. Like, oh yeah, I am doing that. So I decided to lick my lips, and I went, which made no noise whatsoever. It was just to annoy you. It's completely
if you watch the Twitch version, you get Force's tongue ASMR, only for our most dedicated of followers. I'm no longer going to look at his camera to prevent myself from being disturbed.
This is what it sounds like when I visit your mom.
Oh God, even worse.
Alright, everybody, thank you guys very much for coming out. As always, you guys are awesome. Awesome. Stay awesome and have an awesome time, you shitty little goblins. My name is Force.
I'm Power Core.
Signing off. What? Bye-bye.